Hello, I'm Reyes. I'm going to show you how to install the SB chest display plugin. The first thing you're going to have to do, go to the plugins channel and then go to the release. So in this case right now, the current release is 1.0.2. So let's open it up. We'll open up GitHub to the release. Is right here. Where what we're going to do is download the source code, which will provide us with a zip. So let's open that up. And then open up the folder, the zip. Now that we have the zip, we can open up the zip file by double clicking it, opening up the folder, and then going to chest display. That's what we need. So what we're gonna need from this is chest display py, the contents of the config. And we're also gonna need boost and item.json. These two things are what contains the data that's going to be matched with the game, and then the plugin does the work. What we're going to do is have a separate folder with SB open. You can open up two file explorers. We're going to copy the contents of the py into plugins. That's done. Next thing we're going to do is copy both boost.json and item. So this can be done by clicking on it and then hitting control click. And then you can copy multiple items. You're going to put those in. Those are both in now. Next thing you're going to do, go back to the chest display and go to config.txt. This is going to contain the configuration that we need to put into this configuration file. We'll copy the contents up to plugin SP chest display, copy it, and then open up your Starbreak plugin engine config. From here, above keybinds, we're going to paste in the contents here. From there, we're also going to check to see if we have priority. In this case, it is not on priority. So we're going to add that real quick. So let's go to Starbreak plugin engine, copy that, paste that last in priority, save the contents of the file. And then if you want to add a toggle to turn it on and off, you'll do that here within the keybinds. And you can reference like this toggle right here, how to do it. But give a synopsis of what all these different configurations do. I'll give the high level real quick. So first things first, max item display per box. That is essentially saying how many items we're going to display per window pane when we display the items. Currently it's set to 15, you can customize it. Currently the plugin only displays 3 bucks, so have that in mind in terms of your limitations. You can adjust the text size and the spacing between it. So think of this as like padding of text, and this right here, like how large you want that text to be within the boxes. This right here is where you would add the toggle, so basically turning on and off the box. These right here are for enabling and disabling the background colors. So when you have your display, you have a background with it. So either you can make it transparent or you can turn off the background. It's up to you. You can do that for the main window, which displays the items, or you can do it for the panel groups, which are your items that have modifiers. So like an item that has like 1 or 2 modifiers, it'll be a panel group instead rather than another container, and it might have a different background. So you can enable it and disable it. Currently at the moment, panel groups have a transparent colored background associated to their type. So modified, custom, experimental, and prototype. They share the same color scheme with their background as do they with the text, but it's transparent. You can enable that with this field here. SUD equal chess display just balances it out. EC to UC compression compresses them all into one field rather than multiple separate ones to make it cleaner. Remove filter and display filter are explained within the plugin themselves. You can only have one of them on, but depending of how you implement it, like how you want to do it, it's up to you. So remove filter essentially removes the items from the display. Display filter makes it so that those items within the list have to be within it to display those things. So I'll show you real quick what I mean by that if I open up the code. Give me a moment. So here's the code. We go up to the top of the file. It shows you're here. So with the remove filter list, say for example, I don't want to see any Janksy repeaters. I'll use the wildcard format, and no matter the case here, whenever a Janksy repeater is within a drop table from a chest, it will not display at all. And then you can be more specific about it. Like if you don't want to see a specific type of Janksy repeater with these modifications, you can just remove that completely. And it works the other way around too with display filters. So if you only want to see specific items from the chest, you can set it up here. There's also another thing called per tracking, which works as it works in a way where it modifies the display of it and modifies the name to the specific item that you're looking for. So some examples that I gave you are with different types of Janksy repeaters. So you have DPS, comm, and range. And then we can enable or disable tracking depending if you want to watch these things or not watch them. And the modifiers that are associated with it. So for example, if I get a Janksy repeater that's DPS, what will happen when I get that as a drop, if I enable this by removing this comment here, is that it will appear red within the display while also changing the name so it's DPS Janksy repeater. So it pops out. Continuing with this, the next two configurations are walkovers. There's some suggestions whether or not to enable to add this functionality. It makes it so when you walk over the chest, it then displays it, or you can have it so it always displays, but when you walk to it, it turns it off. It just depends how you want the behavior to act with the chest, and then that's how this is done here. The rest of it is mostly just messing with opacity and colors of the different text, the backgrounds, and the borders. So to give a high level synopsis of how this works is that each one of the backgrounds, the text, the labels that you see within the plugin can be modified to whatever colors or opacity level that you want. One common suggestion that was given was to dim the background so you have transparency so you can see where you're jumping or where you're moving. That can be done here within display background color opacity. You can do this by setting the value to be lower because the range is between 0 to 255. So you can do 115 and then that will make the background transparent. Same thing going forward. This is just the border around the display. These ones right here are the fill backgrounds for the item itself. Remember when I was talking about the panel groups having their own associated color to them? That's this right here. So you can change the associated colors to the different backgrounds and the level of opacity from 0 to 255. I set it to 25 because it's layered on top of the main container display, but you can change it to whatever value that you want. Next chunks are the modifier labels and the item labels. What I mean by these is the item label is the name that appears within the display. Say, for example, you have this Janksy repeater here. It'll say Janksy repeater, and then that's what is modified here in terms of the color and opacity. One thing to keep in mind in terms of opacity ranges, because we're modifying the text rather than a container, the level of the range is different. So instead of thinking of it as an integer where you're 0 to 255, we're now thinking about it from a 100% basis from 0 to 1.0 on a floating point. So if you want to make it half, you would have to set it to 0.5. And the same thing goes here for modifier, label, color, opacity, shown here. Okay, let's give a quick rundown of how it works, like in terms of like the display. So first thing I'm gonna do is change the background so it's more transparent. And let's go to a frozen blade. This is good. This right here will allow us to see the chest right away. Fill these first. Same thing over here. So what we'll do is come over here and get a drop. Fill these guys, and we can look at it. There we go. So as you can see, the background is transparent. It shows us the item name with the modifiers and an organized list. So from here, you can change the configuration to make it so you can do different things like the walkover, like I was suggesting, or like changing the colors and opacity. So one thing to keep in mind, like if you're fiddling with this while the game is running, it'll only update in terms of this display when a new one spawns in. Alright, and when you open it, it removes the display. If you have any questions on this process or the install, or you have any suggestions regarding it, let me know within the Discord, and thank you.